Looks like it's got some kind of disease.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We're so glad you're here with us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Don't forget to go find us on our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. And, of course, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Hive.
This guy's got some sort of a
What are you doing over there, Ben? Are you fixing? What are these? The little?
Scoliosis.
What are these? What is this little series called?
Of Toonie Terrors.
Toonie Terrors.
It's from the Season of the Witch group, but they made this guy's legs all deformed. Which, hey, if you're trying to make it to where it's, what's the word I'm looking for?
Deformed?
Representation of somebody that may be handicapped, fine. But this kid's not handicapped. He just don't stand right. They should have said, we're making a handicapped child and let's put a crutch out.
He doesn't stand up.
You just killed a child.
I'm sorry. Did I though? I don't know where it went.
Well, you need to listen and obey.
Okay.
Or watch TV and have no imagination.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't watch TV and have no imagination.
Stay asleep.
It looks like a zombie. Is that what that is?
No, it's an alien.
Oh.
It's from They Live.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever seen that.
When Roddy Piper put the glasses on, he'd see the people.
Oh, we could see them for real. Like
it's essentially like kind of a metaphor on the world right now too.
Yeah, just
it's like this is the politicians, and yeah, you just do what you're told.
TV. Have no imagination.
Don't have your own opinions.
All right, well, friends, sorry we couldn't have a show last week. What was I doing?
Confused with Teen Wolf.
This is Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
Okay. There was also another one.
Yes, with Jason Bateman. He was Teen Wolf 2, but this is the only one that matters.
Which was the one surfing on top of the van?
That would be this one.
Okay, that's the one that matters. Then.
I mean, technically they both did, but this one mattered with him and Styles. They also had the cartoon. Teen Wolf cartoon.
All right, guys.
I'm sorry.
So anyways, we didn't have a show last week, so sorry. But now we have tons of movies to talk about today.
Some of the movies, man, I don't even care about now because they've already been out. We're going to talk about
them anyway. I care.
Because that's how we roll.
What you do need to do is go to our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, and read my review of the Bonanza TV series.
That's the only thing they need to read is just your review?
Yep, just my review, because I wrote a thing. Let me try to pick this thing
up. I like that you write one review, you don't do much else to help with the website
I couldn't even pick this thing up.
You don't help with the website at all, but you promote your one review, but not the regular site.
This is Bonanza, the complete series, 14 seasons, 461 episodes.
How did you review it? It's not open.
Because I actually watched this whole series. Oh, no, she's trying to tell me something about the TV show. I watched this entire show with my grandma and my family. So read my review.
I watched most of it, too, because my dad was always watching that crap.
Yep. Oh, goodness. Oh, this thing is heavy.
I could be confused with the new Transformers Steelbook 4K collection that's right here in front. But that's for next week's discussion, I believe.
Is it this thing you have right here? I'll post a link to it.
Yeah.
I'll post y'all a link just so you get it going. Y'all need to read some more, so I'll post some links. All right, guys.
Reading is
fundamental. No, sorry, I did the hand sign for imagination instead of fundamental.
Clearly, you have no imagination.
Well, we need some. We need something in this world. We are talking about so many things. Where's my review? Oh, I went to the wrong thing.
The review page. This shows how much she knows the website. She didn't even go to right.
I clicked on the wrong thing.
She doesn't even know to navigate.
I clicked on TV instead of Blu-ray reviews. Here it is. Guys, my head's hurting. I'm wondering, you know what? I'm actually wondering two things. Did I accidentally...
Jesus is punishing you for behavior?
That's three things. Did that lemonade actually have caffeine? I don't think lemonade has caffeine, does it?
I don't know, but I guess it depends on where you're getting it.
But see, we got it at the coffee place. Do they put caffeine?
It might have shots of energy or something in it.
Oh, gosh. That, or am I spending too much time on the computer, too?
That's a guarantee you're doing that because you're on the computer all the day.
I know.
You work on the computer all day, then you get on the computer all day, then you're searching for crap that you won't stop searching for, and then you're looking at weird videos, and you're constantly doing something on your computer or your phone with your eyes, even when you're watching TV, when you're talking to me, when you're doing everything. You don't pay attention to anything but your technological world, and you're old. You're not supposed to know how technology works.
I don't know how it works.
So you need to step back and get back to the real world. You're not one of those kids that grew up and that's all they know. You had a life before the internet. Not much of one, but you had one.
I did have one.
All right.
Let's talk about some killing.
All right.
This was a great movie. All right. We're talking about the movie The Wrath of Becky.
And who is Becky?
Hopefully you saw the first movie, Becky. It's Lulu Wilson. And in the first movie, she's at her little vacation home with her dad, the dad's girlfriend and son. And these crazy people break out of jail in search of a key that's on their property. Becky goes a little nuts, and she basically like takes everyone out. Are you okay?
I'm trying to figure out what my link isn't working for that.
Oh, I don't know.
How'd you find
So then part 2 is now The Wrath of Becky.
it? Oh, you haven't pulled that up.
I haven't pulled it up yet, but I'll check
All
and
right,
see.
I'm gonna have to go on there and get it to work quicker. So you'll be able to pull the review up.
Let me see if it works for me. It did work for me.
On the page?
Yep, sure did. So I did it from the bottom, not the top.
Well, I know that, but
Yeah,
it wasn't
works for
even.
me.
It wasn't even opening.
I'm posting a link to our review. Part 2, Becky's now a little bit older. You'll see here. She was a kid during the first movie.
It doesn't even highlight.
Now she's
Oh, you did it from the actual link.
the link.
Okay, that link doesn't work.
And she's been in different foster homes, keeps running away, just trying to really kind of get away from everyone and live life on her own. I think after the events of the first movie, she doesn't really feel the need to have some sort of parental system because the parental system didn't keep her or her family safe. That's the way I saw it. Like she felt stronger on her own.
She had something wrong with her already.
Obviously, but I think she felt safer by herself.
I'm a little hit and miss on this sequel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a fun movie. It lost. I think it lost the element of what made the first one so good, in a couple of levels.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you the stuff that kind of frustrated me, and then we'll talk about all the fun parts of it because it's still a great movie. I loved it. It's just I think the first movie takes itself seriously. It's not funny. It's dark. It's heavy. And
it's unexpected.
Yeah, and I think too, and this is not anything her fault. She does a fine job. In the first movie, she's younger, so there's something more engaging and fun to watch when it's a little kid wiping people out.
Yeah.
Now that she's older, it's like you're a little more expected to do it, and so it doesn't have that same shock factor. And I think also the heavy darkness in this one, it almost had some camp to it, where it's kind of goofy at times, because it was really leaning into the psychotic nature of her behavior. Like there's a moment where she's thinking about killing somebody, and then it's just in her head, and it's just kind of silly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then more than anything, it was the ending. The ending just went stupid.
Really?
Where they end up taking it and what she does, and that it's
yeah.
funny. It's just like, okay, now it's just ridiculous.
It ended up feeling, honestly, that was an episode of Buffy where they came and they're like, "We're going to take you to the secret program and train you."
Well, that was what
it ended up being an episode of Buffy. It did. It ended up being a little science fiction campy, but
it was actually the ending of Veronica Mars. Remember when they said
that
she was
too.
Joining whatever. And
this is.
I told you he's got like.
Oh, poor baby.
Or something else, and his legs just don't work. The rest of them will stand. I need to put them with the rest of them where they go.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And this is not so much a complaint because this is normal. It also falls in the same realm of what they do with a lot of sequels, and they kind of force in the idea that let's do some more with the same character. So now the first one was kind of a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just like, okay, it was convenient. It's like, okay, this person. It's like the shows we talk about, 911 and all those. It's just every person.
It's like I will never be friends with any of these people from 911 because something bad always happens.
Involved in another thing again.
I know,
and it's like
that's true.
And the whole thing we're left hanging in the first movie is about the key.
Yes,
and we still get nothing about.
We're still left hanging about this key.
And
so,
I'm like, why are we not seeing this?
Is there going to be a part 3 of just the key?
Why aren't we seeing any of the stepmother that survived or was going to be the stepmother?
Well,
why are we seeing?
They're
more
not
about
really
the key?
family.
I know that, but they kind of survived an ordeal. There should have been at least something. I think that.
Well, obviously she didn't want her because she went to foster system.
No, I know, but I think there was a missed thing there of at least explaining why they didn't have any kind of connection because they went through that ordeal together, and then the key is ignored until the very end of the movie. I mean, it's mentioned a couple of times, but it doesn't have any relevance. But they do follow the same formula of taking a comedic actor and make them the kind of the villain. Which this time around, it's Sean William Scott.
He was pretty good.
Which he's good in. He's done some other serious action stuff, and I actually thought he was great in this movie.
Yeah,
he's not as menacing as Kevin James, but he's in that same vibe. But he's surrounded by kind of buffoons, where Kevin James' minions were like, a couple of them were kind of dunderheads, but they felt dangerous.
Yeah,
the ones they have now are like country bumpkin dumbasses.
That was Stifler, right?
Yes.
Okay. He wasn't in this movie. He was mean.
Yeah, he was white supremacist crazed.
Yeah. But I agree with you. It is convenient that she would suddenly stumble upon another bad gang of guys.
Yeah.
But, okay.
But I let that kind of thing go.
The action and the kills were really good. I did like it. I did like that she had learned how to make some more elaborate traps. Maybe again that was too convenient, but no, I enjoyed that part.
I can see after doing all that and then years of doing it and having kind of a crazy thought. I'm glad they kind of put in there that okay, she's a little off kilter.
Yeah, she's very.
So it makes it more ideal. But it did, like I said, a lot of it felt convenient. It felt like let's just have fun because we created this. Like I would have been fine if they had done this exact same story, but not made it as camp.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Just because that's not what the first movie is. It's like they said, let's make a second one. But let's change it, and you can tell it's a different director. It's a different people making it. It's not that same tone. Whereas I think if you're going to make a movie, and I think that a lot of movies make this mistake. They either try to go bigger than the first one because they get more money. They try to expand worlds that don't need to be expanded. They try to do something new with characters, and sometimes we just want the same crap. Yes, it could have been convenient, but be the same Becky. Be the same crap. Be just as violent. I also felt like Becky was sidelined for a lot of this movie.
It was a lot of the other
everybody
guys.
Else.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to watch Becky kill something. It's taking me forever to see Becky kill something. Again, I know it sounds like I hated this movie, but I didn't. I think it's because I love the first one so much that I saw so much potential to bring her back and watch her do some stuff, and she does, and they're great kills, like you said. It just felt like it wasn't in the same universe to me. If that makes sense.
I'm wondering if she's going to go back and take that lady's house since it's empty, technically.
Oh no, there was there's a twist
interaction
in the movie
was good.
That I'm glad they went there, but I thought it was an obvious twist. I don't know if you caught it beforehand when it was before it was revealed. Did you figure it out before they revealed the twist?
Which one?
Of some other person that was involved that you see earlier in the movie that you don't Yeah, I kind of assumed as soon as they showed
You have to tell me. I don't even remember now.
One of the main involvements, the big part of the movie.
Oh, no. Tell me later.
Well, she's running around trying to figure out who might be involved, and there's a person that's introduced once, and they come back and you find out they're behind the whole thing.
Oh, I didn't pay attention to that.
Wow, it's a major plot point in the movie, and somebody she fights for a long time.
Plot twist. Okay, I'll go back. I probably do, but I don't remember it, so now we'll see. All right.
Check
out Wrath of Becky. Make sure you do see the first movie, Becky. Don't go being like, oh, what's the Wrath of Becky? Watch Becky, then the Wrath of Becky. Check it out.
Almost might be better to not see the first Becky because then you won't be bothered by the key. Because you need to, trust me, I agree with you, but it doesn't have a whole lot connecting to the first movie other than
her
just knowing what she's done already. So I'm wondering if you could watch this movie and
you've never seen the first one. Well, let's ask our friend that watches movies without seeing all the others.
They do talk. She does kind of give her backstory of
that's true.
Back to back, and I'm kind of I have short temper or whatever, and so maybe it could work without seeing the first movie.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll have our friend watch it. Okay.
Oh well, it's available. It's somewhere playing now. I think it's on digital and yeah.
Okay.
It was in theaters, and then we're a week or so off, so it's probably still in theater somewhere, and probably on digital. Let me see what I put on there. I'm over here uploading stuff that it wasn't working. Sorry. Yes, it opened May 26th, so it should still be playing somewhere. Probably limited release though.
Okay, I'm going out of order. I'm going here. All right, now we're gonna talk about the movie Kandahar. Sorry, got a little Kandahar.
It's the latest film from Gerard Butler. And the director is Rick Roman Waugh. I believe that's how you would say it. Waugh. Who he directed Snitch with The Rock, Shot Caller, Angel Has Fallen, and Greenland.
Did you talk to him?
Huh?
Didn't you talk to him?
I did. I interviewed him. It's the guy right there in that one.
This one?
I interviewed him. Got to talk to him about making this movie and some cool stuff they did. They did everything practical effects with the film, explosions, everything else.
I loved it.
He said they actually got to shoot in areas that hadn't been seen since Lawrence of Arabia.
Wow.
And so he said it was really cool to get to shoot some of that area. He's also going to be the director. They are working on a Greenland sequel.
Oh.
Which have been taught. But the big thing is he's the same director that is going to be working on the Cliffhanger sequel with Stallone.
Oh, okay.
He said, so basically they're doing with Cliffhanger what they did with Top Gun. So basically it's this time jump. It's the same character, same
person.
He's playing this age, but now it's his son or somebody else's now.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of passing the torch.
That's going to be cool.
So, and he, but he's working directly with Stallone on it. And
that's cool.
So it's kind of a big deal. So
Stallone's very busy.
Huh?
Stallone is a very busy man right now, man.
Well, Stallone signed he's had 2 shows on Paramount Plus. Mm-hmm. Now I think he signed an exclusive deal with Amazon. So
he's working it.
Yep. So anyway, this new movie it's based on real events, and it follows a CIA operative who's stuck in the middle of this hospital area in Afghanistan, and his mission gets exposed. He's trying to get out. It's really a story more about, because it's not about the war in Afghanistan. It's after the war's over, and it's
about these people trying to just get out.
Well, it's also about what do they do after when there's no war to fight.
Yeah,
and trying to survive. Because in here, like, it starts with has a little bit of a mission, and he's done, and then he's like,
I can go home and see my daughter for her graduation.
And then he's like, but why? What am I gonna do? Yeah. It's like he wants to see her, but he's also this is all I know.
It's weird, and.
It's kind of, I think soldiers and ex-cons are the same.
Yeah, I've known people who went back for another tour because they just were so unsettled and uncomfortable being home.
It's just like prisoners have been prison forever. A lot of times they end up going back because they just rather be in there because they don't know that.
There's a schedule. There's things to do. Like, you have everything. It's laid out for you. But this was interesting, knowing that it's a true story. I was like freaking out the whole time because it follows basically him. He's the guy, and they're like, get to Kandahar, the plane will get you there, but you've got to get there on your own. We can't help you. We can't be involved. Yeah. His translator guy, and then a reporter lady who's post-war, like, how's it going? And she uncovers something. So it's like these 3 people.
Well, then there's that other operator.
That's the guy from
Vikings.
Yes, Ragnar Lothbrok.
So there's a moment here.
Everybody's trying to get out.
There's a moment I kind of waiting to ask you about it till we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
Because I did talk to him when we interviewed him. But did you feel like there's some shenanigans going on? Like, there's a moment where the operator guy that kind of gets him in on the mission. You see him, and he's got you can tell he's Muslim, it's the way he's praised and all this stuff. But then he comes out and he takes his thing off, and he's smoking, and
he suddenly got like a Hawaiian shirt on.
So when you saw him like that, did you think that he was up to something, like he was faking it?
I thought that, I don't know.
There is an explanation.
I feel like where he is who he is. But then he was back at his own apartment in the U.S. and suddenly that's gone.
No. So.
Okay, what did you
Here's what the director told me.
Oh, good. Okay.
He said that there's a movement in Afghanistan and all this cultures of more updated mentalities of existence. So being Muslim, being whatever, but also being allowed to listen to music and big into hip hop type stuff and being able to smoke and doing stuff. It's kind of like finding that balance of not everything has to be this straight line, this or nothing else. And he said it's a very big movement there where there's these 2 sides of the thing of these are the hardcore old school strict people.
Yeah.
These are the people that see that, like, okay, it's okay to be relaxed. It's okay.
When I was in not Dubai, the Abu Dhabi, the richer kind of fancier glitzy one. Some of the women there were telling me. So when we were in Dubai, we actually went to a little seminar thing. Women could go talk to other women, and they'd explain the clothing, what they wore underneath, and all that. When we were in Abu Dhabi, some of the higher class women and the business women, they were wearing the thing. You wear the thing on top. I'm sorry, I'm ignorant, but I don't know the words. Yeah,
not the burqa, but it's like that.
The jackety tunic thing. Sorry, someone please correct me. But now, instead of they were just wearing kind of like a robe type thing with flowers, but it was still open, so you could see their clothes underneath. Like the lady was wearing like a nice skirt and a top, but she just had it kind of thrown over, so it was a little bit more relaxed.
Well, and he was saying that was one of the things he wanted to be able to show, is that different idea of that same culture. Because I told him when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this guy's up to some crap. he's faking that he's this guy and he's
That's
not.
what I thought.
And then
I thought
as
he
you
was
watch,
playing
you realize,
both sides.
okay, he's not faking anything. He's still the same person through the whole movie. And so once they explained it, that I really got what he was showing me, and I'm like, oh, I get it. In front of these people, he's got to be really cold.
Really, yes.
He gets to be more relaxed. It's like when you go to church, you're very this.
Well, and I
when
think
you get out of church, you still have the same beliefs. You still this, but you're a little more calm.
Yeah.
You might have a drink, or you might do this, but you're not necessarily running around at strip clubs and acting crazy. But you're living the life that you think is still in line with what your beliefs are. You're just not standing there like,
yeah.
I'm
well,
only allowed to do
and
this.
It's interesting because there are a few religions like being Muslim or being Jewish where your religion is your entire life.
Yes.
Whereas if you're here and you're like Baptist, but you're Baptist and you're still American, you can still whatever.
Judaism probably has the biggest that idea because there's so many factions of being Jew.
Well, and that's funny.
You got Hasidic, you have hardcore. You got Jews for Jesus. There's so many different things that are Jewish.
Within themselves, there's level of like. I was watching Jewish Matchmaker, and she's like, I know it sounds funny, but she's like, okay, explain to me how Jewish are you?
Yeah.
What is your level? Because there's the people that pray however many times a day, and there's people that like, I pray once a day, and I go to synagogue like once a week. And there's other people where she's like, no, I want a husband that does the thing 5 times a day and that does this. She's like, I want someone super religious. And so it depends, and her herself, she's like, I'm the head and shoulders, knees and toes. She goes, I cover everything.
Yeah.
But then there's other women that don't. So it's interesting. But like those communities, like your religion is who you are. But it's interesting that now it's different. Because like for me,
and that's not even
I'm
the main part of this.
Jesus,
yeah.
But I still wear like shorts or I like wear jeans. And I had little friends growing up who were very stricter skirt people. They were not allowed to wear shorts or jeans or anything. I'm like, well, I was allowed to wear jeans to school. Like my parents were like that.
And what's funny is that is like this much of this movie, but it's something that's so much culture thing. So I found this movie wasn't the action spectacle that I thought it was going to be, but there is a lot of action and it's intense action. It's just most of it is in the last half of the movie. There's a lot of build up. There's a lot of character driven moments. It's one of those movies that I think will either work really well for you, or you'll be like, this movie's kind of slow, because it does drag a little bit. But I think it's by necessity.
Yeah.
I also I'm a huge Gerard Butler fan. Both of us are.
Agreed.
And something else, I love when I get to speak to the filmmakers and the actors that actually have a deep discussion about what they've done. And one of the reasons of doing this movie and him working with Gerard Butler is Gerard Butler didn't want to play. He was tired of playing these bulletproof heroes.
At least that last one with the plane, he got beat up.
Yeah, and if you think about the last Angel Has Fallen movie, he seemed to get beat up a lot too.
Yeah.
And he's like, he didn't want to be these bulletproof heroes. He was fine being a hero. He's fine being in the action, but he wanted to get shot. He wanted to get beat up. He wanted to get thrown around, make it feel real while it's not real. And I think he's great in this film. I think the film works. It's not going to have the same audience power as something like a plane because that's way over the top action. But I think it's really well handled.
The action in this is different. I noticed at the end, and then you told me it's practical effects. I feel like you can feel the difference that, suddenly there's like an explosion. I feel like they can feel the heat of the explosion in this thing. It's a completely different feel because it is practical. And there's like real like bombs and cars flipping. And like, I feel like they were right there and he's like.
Well, and I asked him, in relation, because there's a big movement, and I'm not necessarily against it. I get it, especially ever since the Alec Baldwin Rust movie where the person got shot, right? That he shot the person
on accident,
to no fault of his own.
Fault, and they should not be suing him. Makes me mad.
Well, it's a double-edged sword there because as an actor, did he ask if it was everything was checked? You know what I mean? I know it's kind of like saying
that's the prop.
Blame the mailman. You didn't get out to
but when I did props, I was responsible. Okay, I've only done props in theater, but when I do props, I was responsible for making sure the props are ready to go because they walk by, grab, and go on stage.
Well, and I've worked on movie sets and TV shows, and you see them like I worked on The Good Guys, and they blew up an entire truck. There was a shootout. I had to be there and jump out of the way and stuff, and there was some stuff I had to do, and it was like when you watch them do this stuff, they clear sections out, they do all this stuff. Somebody will tell you, okay, here, and I see them. I saw a guy with Colin Hanks tell him, okay, this gun is hot. This gonna be this. It's like you're gonna hold it this way. You're gonna hold this, and it keeping everybody away from. Then they make this announcement: the gun is hot, which means the gun is ready to be shot, because he was gonna have to run down the street shooting. He's not shooting at an individual, but you got to still watch what you're doing. It's blanks. So a lot of times it's just gunpowder. It's not shooting anything out, but accidents happen. Same reason Brandon Lee got killed. It was an accident. But because of that, most TV and movie productions are slowly veering towards CGI gunfire because it's so good now. A lot of times you can't tell the difference. For the longest time, you could tell when a muzzle flash was CGI and when it's not. And I asked him about that. I'm like, when you're doing a film, because he'd made mention of them being practical effects. Yeah. And I said, did you get a lot of pushback because of the way the industry is? Because this guy, the director guy, used to be a stuntman.
Oh,
and cool. I was like, do you get a lot of pushback from trying to do because of the nature of the industry? He goes, and I didn't have to explain what I was talking about. He goes, I know exactly what you're referring to. Yeah. And he goes, we did everything practical. He goes, I'm not saying you can't do this. He goes, there's certain things that we can do and that don't need to be done. He goes, but we can, we know you can drop a car from however many feet now and do all these different things. He goes, but sometimes you need that practical element so that the actor feels it. So you agree. Because the audience knows when it's not real.
I could feel, that's what I'm telling you. I could feel like, the explosion and him and the guy, the interpreter guy, that last kind of scene, and like, and I'm like, he's like, whoosh. So I'm like, that must have been hot. I'm sorry, guys.
You never obey.
It's you can tell
when it gets to the action point. It does get slightly intense. Yeah, I think it's well done. It's an emotional action stuff. It's not just shoot. Let's have fun. Yeah, and you're into it. You get more, like you said. You can get more.
You get a little more reaction and I think that's the thing about this movie. It's a little bit slower, but it's high emotion and intensity because it's that stress level of, are they going to make it out? Like at every turn, something goes wrong. And it's like, they're just trying to get out of here. Yeah. It's crazy.
It was an interesting film that, like I said, I don't think it'll work for everybody. It's not on the top tier action level that I thought it was going to be, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. And I think it was really well made. Yeah. And I applaud him for doing something that kind of has its own little vibe and culture and everything else in it. So
something different, original.
If you're tired of watching sequels, remakes, all that stuff,
there you go. Yeah, I clicked the wrong button. That's my bad.
Sorry, my wife is crazy.
I am crazy.
It just started brand new now?
No, it keeps going.
It just went blank for a minute?
Yeah, so if you saw the blank, sorry.
All right, sorry about that. So we're back.
Sorry.
If anybody's even watching now, because she just kicked us offline because she can't stop pushing buttons on her computer. She's always messing with stuff over here. I don't know why she can't just sit still and enjoy it.
I'm getting ready for the next movie, buddy.
You're getting ready to go to eat dinner, apparently, because you're trying to shut us all down. Anyway, Kandahar's in theaters now.
Check it out. All right, let's go into some more killing. Woo!
All right, we're going
The
Machine. So, if you don't know Bert Kreischer's very famous machine story, you kind of need to watch it ahead of time to really get the full gist of it. They do touch base on it in the movie, but I think if you do you feel like it helped you?
Yes, watching the stand-up bit really helped me and set up the story. They just show clips of it in the movie, but I think if you hear the entire story,
when you see,
and it's only like 10 minutes.
So when you see the movie,
I'll put a link.
So the movie is about Bert Kreischer's story is about when he was a teenager. He went on a trip to Russia with the school, ends up hanging out with Russian mobsters, robbing a train, and the other students, and then ends up by kind of becoming this iconic thing. And so that story had taken a life of its own. And he claims it's real. There's never any moment of he's saying this was just made up thing. So the movie is about years later, and he's playing himself now, and somebody connected to that robbery comes back. And now he's in a whole new mission involving Russia and his past. So the movie kind of serves as a sequel to that story.
Yes.
But it also recreates moments from that story.
Yes.
So now that you had seen that thing before we watched the movie, could you see those moments he was talking about come to life?
Yes, it was so funny. It's so funny. And I like that we got the guy from the family show.
Oh, yeah.
This guy.
What is the name of that dang show?
Jimmy Touchrow.
What?
From the Home Economics TV show. He's so funny. He was good in this, though. He was so fun.
He felt like that might
He
be what
felt
Bert
like
was when he
him.
was younger.
Yes, just crazed and over the top.
So Bert Kreischer, you have to understand, if you're not a fan of his stand-up or don't know his stand-up, and I know you don't know it other than that one story now.
Now that's all.
But
Now I want to go watch all of his stand-up.
Well, we can. He's super energy, and he always takes his shirt off.
Yeah, I love it.
And I think
he's got his belly out and everything.
He like his social media stuff for promoting this movie was
just all his shirts off.
He did a whole thing with his shirt off and talking about how he just finished working out with talking to The Rock. I just finished my thing. He goes, but let me see if you got an epic cheat meal. Like, gets on his plane and he's got like pizzas and donuts and all this, but he's got his Terramana tequila, and The Rock tweeted him back, and
nice.
He did another one with, it's worked out with Schwarzenegger, and and so he does all this stuff, and it's the movie playing kind of a fictionalized version of himself where he's kind of burnt out. He sucks as a dad, and he's doing all these things, and it kind of creates this thing. And then they perfectly cast Mark Hamill as his dad.
He's so crotchety and grouchy.
Because he does a lot of stuff about his dad in his stand-up, being crotchety and whatever, if I remember correctly.
It's funny.
So what did you think? Not knowing anything about him other than now seeing that one thing.
This movie is hilarious. This is so fun, and there's a lot of action.
Way more action than I thought.
It's more action than Kandahar.
It is. It's almost like John Wick meets a comedy.
Yes, but it's funny, and
the action is really
he's accidentally doing action, and he's like I
he
can't run.
He has this. It's not really a spoiler because you kind of assume he's going to do it at some point, because you can't have anything without Bert taking his shirt off.
Yes,
but when his shirt comes off, he is now the machine.
Yeah,
that's the character that he always is. Because when he does his stand-ups, he comes out and right at the beginning of the thing, he takes his shirt off and everybody loses their mind.
Oh my gosh!
And so in the movie, there's a scene where it's kind of his hero moment, and he takes his shirt off and takes a big drink, and oh shit, the machine's here. And he does some awesome action, some fight sequences.
Oh my god, he's funny.
It was
hilarious.
And I was surprised that it wasn't as buffoonery and stupid as I thought it was going to be.
It's serious funny. So it catches it tries to play itself serious, so it catches you off guard when funny things happen.
When it started, I was like, I thought this
it's like a comedy of errors.
It is, because once they get on their little mission, it gets really funny. There's a lot of one-liners.
And he does things accidentally, heroically, or accidentally does actually beat someone up on accident, and it's hilarious.
And there's a running gag that like his dad doesn't believe that story's even true.
Correct.
He goes, "You still milking this story till it starts happening." And Mark Hamill is just so great in this role.
He's funny. And then this lady, Irina Babic, she's awesome. Eva.
She does most of the action in the movie.
Man, she's
and so
good.
I will say there's some of the earlier fight scenes that are a little. They're not bad. They're just slow.
Yeah.
So they're clearly the choreographed nature. And I know it's my martial arts.
I thought that too. There's one where she's fighting, and I'm like,
everything's very 1, 2, 1, 2, and
it's like, come on, people.
That speed isn't
like you
there.
could tell. Yes, I noticed that too. I'm becoming like you. I'm like, come on, hit.
It wasn't bad. I mean, for a normal movie action thing, it's still good.
It's good.
It's just when you're
used to fighting the way we do. Not me, but
when you do martial arts stuff, but then also it's not even that part so much as when you're used to the level of action you're getting, like a John Wick and Atomic Blonde and all that kind of stuff. It kind of makes you see other stuff like this. Maybe that's not good. And I think it's kind of made some action unfair, because you watch some action movies, like if you go watch a Chuck Norris movie or Don the Dragon Wilson movie, those aren't
they're
like
different now.
Exciting fights. They're basic fundamental fights, but those are more like what a real fight's going to be.
Correct.
And if you watch those and compare it to watching The Raid or John Wick, it's a two totally different worlds.
Oh my gosh, I came out of The Raid like
those are two different worlds.
And John Wick too, I was like, oh my gosh. And I at one point on the stairs, I don't know if you haven't seen the new John. Oh my gosh. And I'm just turning to you, I'm like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end?
That movie is exhausting.
It is the longest fight scene ever.
I love John Wick, all the John Wicks, but that part 4 is exhausting.
I was so stressed.
I think we'll talk about that. That Spider-Man movie is exhausting the same way.
It's stressful. Anyways,
but
this is a great movie. Go watch the stand-up routine. I posted a link to it here. Go watch this movie. It is really good.
It's another movie that is not going to get the box office numbers because it's sharing ground with.
I'm glad he got a movie. Good for him.
It's sharing ground with stuff like The Little Mermaid and Spiderverse and Fast X and all these different big movies that come out. So it's going to kind of get lost. But I think he had classified as the #1 comedy of the weekend it came out, and I think it's gonna have legs. I think it's gonna be one of those that becomes
but good
like
for him that a stand-up guy got a movie, because we get some, but.
Well, do you remember that show
Just
years and
stand-up
years ago? There was a guy that used to run around and go to like theme parks and ride crazy rides, and it was on like it was back at the height of Man versus Food, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that right.
There was another show where a guy would run around and just go to theme parks and ride the most insane roller coasters. That was him. Yeah, that's when I first saw him. Okay. I didn't realize he was a stand-up until much later.
Nice. Anyways, check it out. Check out the machine. The machine.
He also used to have a show.
So fun.
It might have been, I don't remember if it was a TV show or a web series or what, that he would just have people over and they would go to like his hot tub and they would talk. And of course, everything involves him having to take his shirt off. So it's just his thing.
He's fine taking his shirt off. Why can't you?
Because he's being paid multiple millions of dollars if he take his shirt off. Nobody's paying to say, if they'll pay me to put my shirt back on, then I'll be glad to take it off. Nobody wants to see me with my shirt off.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yes,
you always turn the lights off when I come in the room.
Wow.
Anyway.
All right, check it out, the machine. All right.
Jump to that one.
This one?
Yeah, because it's almost in the same line.
Oh, more silly craziness.
So the next one is one I'm also super excited for. It's another stand-up comedian.
Yes, I'm so happy.
Who's one of the top stand-up comedians out right now, Sebastian Maniscalco. And he's been in some other movies. He was in The Irishman with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. He was in that movie recently with... did you ever get to watch the one with Ray Romano?
No.
Oh, he plays one of his brothers.
Because it's very Italian. I gotta see it.
Yeah, he plays one of his brothers. So anyway, it's a movie called About My Father, which again, his stand-up specials, he talks about his father a lot.
Yeah.
So this was another take of bringing the world of his stand-up into it with kind of a Meet the Parents vibe. And again, it's not a movie that's not the same vibe of what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought it was very funny. I thought it was a fun movie. But I thought it was a little safe.
Yeah. So I've only seen the one stand-up special. The most recent one is on Netflix, where he comes out in the cool old school,
he tried to do like an old Vegas
style, whatever. Anyways, yeah, I was wishing it was a little bit more. Did you say about the
Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, all that series?
I was wanting it to be a little more raunchy, I guess, or just a little more.
It felt like it kept going that way.
There's one part that kind of is, or maybe two parts that are a little over the top.
It felt like it was heading there, and then it would veer away.
Yeah, it was a little.
But it makes me wonder.
Not bad.
It's not. It didn't hurt the movie. Yeah. It just wasn't the vibe I expected.
Correct.
I think I still very much enjoyed it. I thought he did a great job as somebody who's not a full-time actor. I thought he carried himself just like Burt did in that other movie. I thought they both carried themselves really well leading a movie of their own. I think this is both of their very first lead films as they're the lead.
Yeah, true.
What I will say is I think this is one of Robert De Niro's best performances in a long time.
He's just having fun.
He seemed to be really enjoying it. Mm-hmm. Like he's done comedies before and he's been good.
Yeah.
But a lot of times he just feels like he phones it in. Yeah. And I don't mean that as bad as a performance. It's just like he's Robert De Niro. He just kind of does Robert De Niro thing and leave. This one he seemed to get into it. He seemed to kind of run around, seemed to be having a good time. Seemed to really connect, and it made me wonder. And behind the scenes, I assume Robert De Niro doesn't want to be anybody's friend. That's just a look, because I'm seeing him as the mobster.
Yeah,
and when somebody comes up to me, he's like, "What do you want?" I think that's what I know. That's probably not, but that's what I envision. But it made me wonder, since when they worked on The Irishman together, did they kind of become friends?
Maybe.
And in that case, that's how he got him to come do the movie, and but who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, I thought it was fun. I loved it. I did like Robert De Niro. I think my favorite were the two brothers.
Yes.
So Anders Holm, who actually worked with Robert De Niro in the movie The Intern, he's funny. And then the other brother is which one?
He's the best.
This guy? Yeah,
yes, Brett Deere. He's the teacher that used to be on the show Schooled. Is that the one that spin off from Goldberg?
Yes, the Goldberg.
He was on that show. Yeah, he was the best in this movie.
He's the best. Oh my gosh.
So weird,
love him. He's so funny.
Yeah.
Love him.
And it's very subtle.
If you're a Sex and the City fan, Kim Cattrall's in it, if that's important to you.
Not to be confused with Kim Cattrall's also in Porky.
Leslie Bibb is in it, who I think was always fun as the cute, quirky little girlfriend.
Yeah.
And now she's a little older. And it's okay.
She was still fine, but it seems weird now.
Yeah.
When she's playing that same.
But that's okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad performance or anything. I just think it's when you start seeing somebody get older and the thing you knew them from. That's why I like when I start seeing the evolution of some of these performances.
Yeah.
Like these old action stars, like a Schwarzenegger, Stallone. What are they now? That they kind of doing something different while they still do their same thing, but they're putting behind, hey, flexing my muscles, or putting behind the one-liners. Like Schwarzenegger leans into it and kind of making fun of himself in FUBAR. Stallone kind of ditched it to do the mob battalion thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's working for a lot of the people, and they just got to find their thing.
Because he's older and he's playing older, but still gangsta in that movie. I love that Tulsa King show, by the way.
Yes.
Anyhow, but check out About My Father. It was really fun.
It's funny. Yeah, it is a funny movie. It's one of those kind of stereotypical by the numbers romantic-ish comedies, but it's really not a romance comedy as much as it is a bromance. It's really about the father and son.
The father and son. It's about them finding themselves again.
The whole thing looks like it's setting it up as though it's about the couple and the families, and it's really not. It's about those two guys.
About their relationship. So,
but yeah, it's a fun flick, man. It's another one. If you need to see something different, then check it out. Give us some props.
And what about your father?
What about my father?
And I'm like, what about my father?
Oh, jeez.
Lord.
We all go on and on.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could all relate to this. So check it out. All right, we're going here. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Or do you want to go there?
I don't care.
Let's go here.
All right. All right, so we need to put some stuff out on the table. We're going to talk about the live action Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
And we need to put it out there that both of us have different opinions of this movie, the original movie.
The original and this movie, probably.
Neither one of us are huge fans of the original animated film.
It was fine.
You like some of the music, but you don't really care for
the
movie.
I like some of the music. The movie is
it's not bad. You just are.
And honestly, I found her bright red hair off-putting in the cartoon. I was just like, this is just so fake.
And see,
but then again, it's a mermaid, and I guess I wasn't connected. It's a mermaid.
Well, my thing is, I never really cared. Again, that is the era of Disney I'm not a fan of.
Correct.
I don't.
Every princess looked the same.
They all just changed their hair color, changed their clothes, put them in a different setting. It felt like it was all the same crap.
Yeah.
I also know I'm not the
audience,
the target audience for that, but I do have a personal connection to that movie because my daughter loves The Little Mermaid, and it was the first movie she ever saw in the theaters, and she threw up on me at the theater, and then felt fine. So after we cleaned each other up, I had to sit down in the front row of this movie, away from everybody else, so she could finish watching said movie. Because why? Because I'm a good dad.
You are a good dad.
Covered in chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what smells. Chicken noodle soup when it comes back. Anyway, so I was actually kind of looking forward to seeing what they pull off. I'm not a big hater of these live action
I know. Why
remakes.
do people hate movies
mad
so
about
much?
everything. I know not all of them are great. I get that. Not all of them work. With the right technology, right effects, this one had the potential to be this really beautiful movie. The songs are timeless. But again, it was going to be is it Halle Bailey? What is it? I'm a huge fan of the chicken. I can't get her name right.
I know it's Haley. That's Halle Bailey. It's not right. Little Mermaid. Lord have mercy.
I just clicked on the review.
Halle Bailey. Halle.
Okay.
Halle.
Her and her twin sister were both on the show.
Halle Bailey. Yes.
And so I watched all the show. I still watch the show.
Sorry, we messed up.
That they were on. They're both also musicians. They're singers. That I believe they were.
They sang together.
Yeah, but I think they were discovered and what is the word when somebody's mentored by Beyonce, if I remember correctly. So they're huge in the music world apparently. But she got cast as Little Mermaid. And of course, everybody loses their mind. Why?
Because she's
a person of color, which I'm pretty sure that she's only half. I think her mother's white.
Doesn't even
matter. Not that it matters. It's a freaking mermaid. Those aren't real either.
Yeah.
So anyway, and so you have this. We're diving into this.
I mean, because right here. It was Cinderella, it was Sleeping Beauty, then Ariel, and they are exactly like same color thing.
Is exactly the same.
Same color palette as well, both wearing the pink dress.
It wasn't
different
until
hair
Pocahontas that it changed. Because if you look at Belle is the same.
Jasmine
is the same. She's the same. She's just different color.
Different color skin, but she has the same exact.
It's all the same artwork. And then in Pocahontas she looked completely different.
Completely, her facial structure changed.
And then Mulan looked completely different.
Mulan different. Because if you notice what they did with Jasmine was actually quite rude. Is all they did was extend the eye here and put some eyeliner
to give her the
more Indian look. But yes, Pocahontas, we finally got a different
And
facial
I
structure.
like Pocahontas. I'm not a big fan of that movie, but I was like, I remember seeing you going, finally.
Tiana finally had a different nose instead of everybody. She had like
I remember when Pocahontas came out, and I was like, oh my God, a movie that doesn't look like the same crap over and over.
Yes, Merida.
And now everyone they've done since has a different vibe, has a different look. Yes. And that's because I never thought about it when I was younger, but as an artist, that was one of my beefs as an artist. Like, this is just recolored. There's no creativity here. But I'm pretty sure they had the same animators working on all these movies. Now they seem to have like different teams and different things doing different stuff and creative things, and they're trying to meet different things. And so every so often there's similar stuff that comes out, and I'm fine with that. It's just I didn't see the creativity like back then, and I also coming off of stuff where every movie looked different because you had like like Snow White and Cinderella and all that stuff looked similar, but you would have say like a Snow White. Then you would have a Robin Hood with the animals. Then you might have a Cinderella. I know this is the order. You have a Cinderella, and then you'd have a Fox and the Hound. And it felt
you get different.
Things were changing, But if you look at all the animal ones too, they're all the same art too. The Jungle Book, Fox and the Hound, they're the same looking characters, but because they're animals, they're distinctively different looking because animals look different. All the people in those things look almost the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my big beef with this. But you were not a huge fan of outside of some of the music. In general,
I don't know why. It didn't connect.
So what was your?
I think we also watched it a lot with Mackenzie, or it was always playing maybe in my head, or maybe I don't know.
So what was your opinion before telling what you thought of the movie? What was your level of caring or excitement going to see it?
I was excited to see it because I did like the live action Beauty and the Beast. I love live action Mulan. And I was like, okay, at least with there, we're getting another person of color, something different. Let's see what happens. And I knew it was somebody that could sing. I do miss the other lady because, in my head, that's the voice of Ariel. I forget her name at the moment. But I was like, okay, let's give it a shot.
Here's my thing, too. Looking forward to it. Is one of the things I think that Alamo did that would probably help almost any person that went to see this movie that you wouldn't get at an AMC is they have all these opening things. If you've never been to Alamo Drafthouse, they build these opening segments while you're waiting for your movie to start. It's fun, goofy stuff, and it's all connected. But what they did is take almost every version of the Little Mermaid that's been done throughout the country, the world, all the way back to the 60s, 50s, whatever. And you're seeing all the different visuals because most people look at these things and all they know is the Disney Little Mermaid and nothing else. But there's so many versions.
You're missing the ballet.
And guess what? Not a single one had red hair except for Disney. They did that specifically to make her stand out on the movie.
I think the one that was most elaborate to me was the beautiful. There was like an anime version that was really cute. And I don't know, it was in Japanese, so I have no idea what they were saying, but it was so cute and visually interesting. She had pink hair and blue hair and red hair.
This is why it irritates me when people complaining about why are they remaking this? The other one's perfect. This stuff has been remade a billion times. It's a different version of the story. I get they are remaking their animated version. I understand that. But it's like, why can't there be another version? Like my daughter, one of her big issues, she hasn't seen the movie yet. And she's not a knucklehead that goes, this movie sucks because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Her concern was, one of them is a hilarious concern because she works she's a vet tech, so she's all about animals, and she was mad that Scuttle is not the right kind of bird. Which I get.
She notices these things.
And I don't know why they didn't use the right kind of bird.
Wasn't he a dodo bird in the cartoon?
No, it was
or a seagull.
Seagull.
What is this one?
I don't know what that was. Unless it was a different kind of seagull, but I don't know what that was.
Maybe it's a different seagull in this part of the world.
Maybe. I don't know. She just goes, it didn't look like the right kind of bird. But her bigger concern was, she said Ariel, and I'm like, why? Because she's black. And she goes, no, I don't care about that. And she goes, and she can sing. She was partially concerned about her hair, and not that it had like a Brady dread kind of look, but that it was more orange than red. And I'm like, I get that. But to me, it actually worked better. It's a toned down color. It doesn't feel like in your face. And this movie clearly is taking place in a Caribbean area.
Yes.
And it fit the whole vibe of where they're at.
Okay, it says Scuttle in the cartoon is a male seagull. In the movie, it's now a black and white gannet. So it is a different bird on purpose because the voice is a woman in the live action.
So it can't be a seagull. There's no women seagulls.
I guess it says no longer a seagull or a male, like in the cartoon.
Well, they changed a few things anyway. They added some new songs. to kind of, they were really trying to expand on the love romance relationship, which is what the story is, and they're really trying to expand. So they give the guy a song that's not in the original.
Yeah, which was meh. It's okay.
It's not a good song.
It's okay. He did a good job. Perhaps the lyricist didn't, but he did a good job singing what he was given. I'm not going to be rude.
Lin-Manuel Miranda stuff.
That's why I'm not a huge fan.
But he also wrote the hip hop Aquafina part too.
Except for Familia Madrigal.
He's good. He's a good writer and stuff. It just, some stuff works, some stuff doesn't.
Yeah.
Because he did a lot of them. I think the Mary Poppins Return stuff too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I believe.
He was in it. Right?
He is in it. But he wrote the Aquafina rap thing that is split down the middle. People either really hate it or they really love it.
I was like,
I was annoyed by it, but it was fine.
You guys, I loved the music in this though too. Well, first of all, this girl.
Hold on, before you say any of that. Now you've heard all of her grumpiness about the original.
Don't be talking about the remake.
I want to know that we know your disdain for the original.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the original.
We know that you were excited to see this, but you're like, eh.
Yeah, I was gonna go either way.
What do you think of this movie?
I loved this movie. I want to watch it again, which is a big deal because I don't ever watch the Little Mermaid cartoon. If we're gonna watch a cartoon, I'm gonna watch Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin or maybe Mulan or Moana or one of them. Okay, if you notice, I watch all of the brown girl movies, because representation matters. Yeah, but that first song she sings, oh my gosh, I was crying and clapping after the first song.
That was one of the changes that I thought was a smart choice. I don't know if you caught that there's a change there. Not with that song, but they got rid of the opening number of the movie, which is the sisters singing.
Oh, the sisters and
which is a fun song.
Which the scene's still there.
By taking that out, that whole scene still exists. But by taking that song out, they made her song more impactful. Being the first song you hear, it brings you in and makes it stronger.
Y'all, I was crying. I was clapping.
I was pissed off. They ditched Le Poisson. The best song of the entire movie.
That's your favorite of the whole thing.
But I also understand.
He did a different funny things, though.
Well, they ditched that song because that song is a placeholder. That has no point to the movie. And the director did say, while we know it's a great song, it does nothing for the movie to push it forward. It doesn't serve any purpose to the story. It's more just a.
Well, we do get a fun scene of Sebastian running through the kitchen.
I know, but it's just not. I was waiting. As soon as I realized Le Poisson wasn't coming, I'm like, this movie can kiss my ass. And I sat back and was like, I'm going to just drown. How about that? Nah, it was fine. It was a little irritating, but I totally understood why it was gone.
Yikes.
It's just funny song, man.
Yikes.
I actually enjoyed this movie way more than I expected to. It's entertaining. It's a beautiful movie.
It is
it's
really
vibrant,
good.
It's colorful.
And I like that too, the sisters from the 7 Seas, each sister looks different, has a different color area. Scheme. Yeah, so we have an Asian one, she's black, we have the blonde one, we have
and I saw people complaining about that too. They're like, these don't look like sisters. And I'm like, you're not missing the.
It's the 7 Seas.
You're missing the point of this culture and these sisters, and that they're all from. They don't
I am
live
a
here.
robot. I only understand English literally.
I think the idea too. Somebody else said something about why is King Triton or whatever he is? Triton. Why is he Hispanic and then his daughter's black, and then he has a daughter that's Asian? And I'm like, first of all, they're fish people.
Okay, so what happens when a man and a woman?
Don't tell me you know the cultural of fish people.
And like so the mama is probably Asian.
He probably has a lot of people that he's gonna birth. He's king.
He's king, and he's.
But yeah, I like that they thought about the fact that it's 7 seas. Every sea is in a different section of the world.
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great.
And since this one's taking place near. That was the other thing is the whole thing. It's still another nondescript country, but you can tell it's like Caribbean islands, kind of thing from the music and stuff. And there was even somebody that commented on somebody else's like they were disgusted by that they didn't touch base on any of the slave issues in the Caribbean.
There were no slaves.
And somebody was like, "This is a Disney movie. Why would that's not even the story we're dealing with."
We didn't see any slaves in this movie.
No, but that apparently that's a big issue in history of culture, and so they were like, but somebody else was talking about how
currently.
No, I don't know. That's not important. It's just somebody was that you care that much even is a problem. No, but it's just a stupid comment. Somebody else had some singer, I think it was a singer. She commented, "Do not take your little girls to see the Little Mermaid because the whole movie is just talking about how some girl would give up her voice for a man." Yet somebody pulled an old tweet of hers from years ago that says, when I grew up, I want to be the Little Mermaid. I love the Little Mermaid. It's like, it's the same story, right? I'm like, the whole story isn't necessarily just about her being a man. It's how her wanting to be on land and have a different life and explore the other things, And speaking of losing her voice, I thought Melissa McCarthy was excellent too.
She was really good. Has anybody trashed her about it yet?
I think a couple people have.
Yeah, I thought she was so fun, and I liked her rendition of "Poor Unfortunate Souls." Yeah. I thought it was really good. It was a little risque at times the way she was doing it, but all Disney movies are a little
you look at the older stuff; a lot of that stuff's inappropriate.
There's some phallic images in some of the in most of the movies. They did it on purpose. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, and if you pay attention, because it's better where it's down wetter or whatever. So I mean, hello.
That's all nasty.
But I know the whole thing's nasty. But I really liked her performance. I didn't get the until you told me. I always thought she was an octopus in the cartoon, but she wasn't. I guess she was a squid.
I think she was a squid because I think it's about the amount of tentacles, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So who knows? I thought she was great,
and I like that they made her so big with the amount of her size of her, not her fat body, her
tentacle body
and lower halves, and how big.
Because she was all over the screen, because her tentacles were
And my favorite part of what they did with that character is the little nuances that are in the animated, the things like her shaking her shoulders. And that one song.
And they did the shimmy just like they did in the cartoon.
And then the part where she's at the end where she turns back in her and she's crawling across land all angry.
Yeah,
chasing her.
They did that too from the.
Those little things are to me are what make it.
Yeah, see, because we watched the other right before it. Yeah. And you're like, oh, she's doing the little shake and shimmy. And then she did it in the movie. Oh, I was like, so good. Okay, so Ursula's original design was inspired by several different sea creatures, including manta rays and scorpionfish, before they finally decided on an octopi.
For 8 to 6, that's why.
Okay.
So in the original she only had 6, and now she has actual.
She has actual 8 tentacles. Okay.
It's such a small thing that only weirdos would notice.
We
would have never noticed had nobody not brought it up.
I know.
I would have just man, she got way more bigger tentacles. I wouldn't have noticed actual numbers.
No, but I thought she did really good. I really liked the movie. I thought it was great. I don't know who the boy is in the movie. Don't know that it matters. I don't even think it's about him. It's about the Little Mermaid.
That's right. So nobody else matters. I will say the only thing that was really kind of off-putting that didn't work for me was Flounder. And he was fine, but
because Mackenzie was upset about that. It's
she
not
didn't
the right type of fish.
He wasn't yellow enough, which that one I didn't understand. I know they were trying to make it realistic, but there's plenty of fish that are bright and vibrant, but maybe trying to make it fit with the world. Yeah. It has yellow in it, but for me, it was just
a little too live action.
It looked so real. It was weird to see it talk.
Yeah.
Whereas, when the Lion King movie came out, I love that movie. I like the original one, and I love the live action one. But I was able to buy into it because there's no people.
Yes. So if everybody's talking,
so in this one, when you have Flounder look like a real fish talking, and it's weird to say that because you got the crab with Sebastian and Scuttle, but Scuttle's kind of the same for me too. Sebastian almost had a comical vibe to it, even though it still looked real. So it fit kind of what we were doing. Okay, that's not a real crab, that's a talking crab.
Yeah, it's talking crab.
But it's such a small thing. I think the movie was great. I'll probably never watch it again because I say that I have a granddaughter. I'll probably stuck watching that.
We'll be watching it a lot. I do want to shout out Javier Bardem and Lorena Andrea, the Latinos in the film. She's one of the sisters, because it's okay if a Latino guy has a Latino daughter and a black daughter and an Asian daughter and a blonde-haired daughter if he wants to.
And here's the thing. I say this on this show all the time. If you have a problem with a new version, go watch the original and shut up. There's no reason to spew hate. There's no reason to argue. There's no reason to complain and boycott over dumb crap.
And this little girl has nothing to do with your life, so don't be mean to her.
Yeah, somebody was talking, I forgot who was thinking about it, been the director and Melissa McCarthy. Were talking about how impressed they were with her. Not only her performance and stuff on the set, but how she was handling all the backlash that she was getting because of being cast in a movie. And have you ever noticed that when they seem to have backlash, they seem to only have problems with people of color that are women when they're backlash?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
There's not a lot of, I don't remember a lot of storylines with they recast somebody with a black man or a Hispanic man and people threw that big of a fit.
Were they mad about Javier Bardem being King Triton?
I haven't heard a single thing about Javier Bardem and King Triton. Only her.
Because she's a young black woman.
Maybe it's a thing. I don't know. I'm just saying.
People are threatened by powerful young black women.
think
How about that?
People are threatened about women in general.
True.
And
But then if you put in colored women or brown women,
and you keep it up,
woo!
and you will get threatened by a person of color.
Women are going to rule the world, babies. Anyways, it was a great movie.
Watch it or don't watch it. We enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
I think it was well done. I think she's amazing in the film.
And it's interesting. The screening we went to, there were no kids. It was all adults watching this movie.
Because that movie came out when all those people were kids, and they're all adults now.
And it's awesome. There was the nice black people behind us. There were us. There was a nice gay couple. There was a husband and wife. I mean, it's all adult people, and everyone was into this movie, you guys. I mean, we were into it. I think I might have
been the only person in the theater not singing.
Were the guys next to you singing?
I think the guy behind I am deaf. I don't hear what people are. I just see people moving around.
I was singing. I was... And I was clapping.
I'm in my headset trying to
and I was crying.
Like, anyway, Little Mermaid is in theaters now. If you don't feel like going to the movies, first of all, that's sad. But I get it. It'll be on Disney because it's doing so well. It'll probably hit Disney Plus sooner than later.
Actually, I'll be talking about that in a little bit. I think it's on the list for a few weeks from now.
Well, maybe everything's popping up faster nowadays.
All right. Anywho, check it out, Little Mermaid.
I mean, we got one more.
We got one more. Oh my gosh.
Polar opposite film from everything else we watched.
Wow, this movie. Oh no, we got two more. We got that too.
Oh yeah. So sorry, we're gonna run a little bit later today.
This
next movie is a movie that I will be honest with you that we would have probably not have seen.
No.
For quite a while.
No.
It's a movie called
PastLives. We just happened to get
we got a screening for it, but because of my schedule, I have to pick and choose what screenings I take. And this is a screening I probably would have passed on just because of time. It happened to fall on Memorial Day, so we're like, screw it, let's go.
Yeah, day off.
Don't watch anything. You know what? And it wouldn't have been. It's not one that it would have appealed to me to say, let's go to the theater, because there's so many other things that we haven't seen that we try to go watch. So we'll basically tell everybody what the story is, or do you think?
So it's these two people, Nora and Haesung. They're childhood friends in South Korea. Her family decides they're going to immigrate to the United States for better opportunities. And so they're like, bye, may not see you again, bye. 20 years later, he reaches out to her through the magic of Facebook, and they have a little video chat, and they start video chatting. Okay. And it's one of those things where it's like, the whole question of the past lives is like, if we had stayed together, would we have gotten married and had kids and had this whole life together? But because I moved to the United States, now I have my own life here. You have your life there. Well, more years pass by, and they make contact again. And now he comes to the United States to visit her and to see her. And it's just one of those stories where it makes you reflect on, all of the directions your life could have taken. It's one of those movies. Like, if I had married this person, what would have happened? Or if I had gone here and married this other person, like, it was one of those movies that really makes you think. And man, this movie just, it's slow. It's kind of a talkie, but there were people like sobbing in the theater at the end, because it's like, what do you do? I mean, once your life has gone off and veered off 30 years later, could you or would you ever come back and be like, okay, I've tried my life over here, husband. Now I'm going to go back and marry this dude and see what would happen.
Well, and from the trailers,
it felt like
heavy. Yeah, the trailer felt like it was going to be a story of this lady who had that past relationship, then had come here and got married to someone else. Then that person shows back in their life, and now they're struggling triangle of thing. That is not what this movie is at all.
No,
it's really two people's journeys in their life of like 24 years.
In a way, it's so heartbreaking.
Well,
too.
so I'm sorry, I was having to answer, but I'm assuming you explained it already. But it's told in 3 stories.
Yes.
So
when they're kids,
and here's the thing: is they're never in a relationship.
No,
the way the trailer makes you think is they were.
But the kids are like, oh yeah, I would marry you.
They really like each
when
other,
you're kids.
and the girl has to leave, and so then it jumps like 15 years later, or 12 years later, or
12.
something.
It's 12 year segments.
Yeah, it's here 12 and 12.
12 and 12.
Yeah, so it's 12 years later. Now we're seeing
He finds her on Facebook. They're chatting. They talk like every day.
Then it jumps 12 years again.
Then 12 years
it doesn't
again.
work out,
and she's already married, and he has a girlfriend in Korea.
And they finally get to see each other. So it's interesting seeing the trajectory of two people's lives and how different it is. And I think this is one of those movies, again, it's a slow-paced character study on human nature and evolution of character.
Yeah, but
because in a normal Hollywood story, you would think the girl's pining in this guy, her long lost love, and the guy's moved on and always reconnects, and it's kind of switched.
Yeah,
is she cares about this guy, but she's kind of moved on with her life. He's been pining over her despite moving on, and comes to realization, and then it doesn't have a lot of the standard Hollywood tropes of cliches.
Yeah,
like even the ending of it doesn't necessarily, I'm not going to spoil it, but it doesn't necessarily go where you think it's going to go. Because it leads everything like you think this is what's going to happen, and it doesn't necessarily go there.
That they're going to end up together. These people are going to end up together. Yeah. She's going to move back here. And...
You keep waiting for fights to happen with her husband, who's super jealous of this new guy, and none of that happens. It's because this guy's understanding her dilemma, but he's concerned for his relationship.
Yes, but you know what?
This guy thinks he's going to get a relationship, but he doesn't necessarily know who this person is anymore.
The most heartbreaking thing, and I think you said it when we left the theater, was Hai Song. He comes and meets her and her husband. He's like, I did not expect to like your husband. And that was
he goes, I didn't expect it to be so depressing to like your husband so much.
And I mean, that's so heartbreaking. I think maybe in his head, he still thought he had a chance. But then she's also like, I don't know that who you knew 24 years ago is still who I am now. Yeah. And that's an interesting thing.
Well, there's a statement she makes too that it was kind of like it's in Spider-Man 2 that we'll talk about. It's the same idea where she's like, you didn't lose the person that you knew.
Right.
I'm just not that person anymore.
I'm not her anymore, but you still have her because she
still exists
there with you.
You can like us both.
And I think too, the other thing that I started thinking about is because she moved away from South Korea and she became a little bit more Americanized through the rest of her adolescence into adulthood, he's still in South Korea, very much following I have this girlfriend, but I don't make enough money to ask her to marry. I don't have a big enough house. I'm not successful enough or whatever. So he still has this other way of thinking that she's like, when she first sees him and talks to the husband, she's like, he's so Korean.
Right.
And she's like, I'm not even that, like, I can't imagine that I was that Korean. And it's interesting too, because I think it's that factor of your environment also has a lot to do with molding who you are.
Yeah.
Besides family.
Well, it's like our friend from India. It's a prime example. She's not the same person we met.
No,
how many years ago?
We've changed her.
We've
badly influenced
She was already
her.
Kind of Americanized by the time we met her, but she wasn't hanging out with a lot of the American people.
But we find her to be very traditional. But when she says she goes back to India, they're like, "Oh, you're so American."
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh man,
we love who she is. And she's fun and she's funny because she doesn't always get stuff, and it makes her more endearing and fun to be around. But it's also gonna be frustrating, so you never know.
And oh my gosh, this guy Hai Sung, what is his real name? He is such a cutie patootie.
Is he?
I think he's cute.
You are a married woman.
I know, and that's usually not my type. I go for white guys with scruffy beards. That's my thing. But
basically, she likes lazy white men who don't shave.
This guy's so cute, and I like Greta Lee anyway.
This is one of those movies that it's a slow burn.
It's gonna have you thinking and talking for a while.
The whole movie is engaging. Because the story is so real, and everybody can connect on one of these parts of your lives, whether it's your growth, whether it's the loss of somebody, whether it's pining for somebody who you will never have, or not being interested in that friend that likes you and the awkwardness of it, or having to go to another place that you don't know,
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I know how hard it is to move from city to city.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having to upload from a country that's completely different into another whole place and start over.
People that do that are very brave. Like our friend from India, or like my dad, or just people, that you move from an entire different country. And I know there's this whole immigrant thing people are dealing with, but I'm just telling you, no matter what, to leave everything you know behind and everyone and start over it seems terrifying. I mean, we've talked about moving to Thailand or whatever,
Yeah.
but
And
in
it would
reality,
be, we love it, but it would be a social.
It would be weird
nightmare to try to figure out first, how do we get around? Do they have the same thing in the stores? Which luckily we've been there, so we know the stores have. Although when we were walking through the store, the first thing you're like, I don't know if I can live here. I don't see rice, this kind of rice, or I don't see these kind of beans.
They don't have
tortillas, or it was. Just,
I'd make my own.
Yeah, it was little things that you notice. That you
I would have to bring my own spices to make good Mexican rice.
Just seeing those things that you're so familiar
just
with.
Random things.
But
I'm just.
You won't have, and it does. It's the little things that mean everything.
And I feel like at least now where we are in America is like you can find people of your own culture here.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, and here's the thing: is
crazy.
I'm going to say, even though it has nothing to do with this movie, but it does a little bit because this movie has a thing where she immigrates to America. It's like a big deal part of early in the movie, and we have all these people that are throwing fits about immigrants and this, but the entire country was built on immigrants. It's been talked about in history where the railroads were built what Chinese and the slaves. And all people doing the work nowadays are people of color. They're immigrants that are building stuff and doing stuff. Guess who's not doing all this hard labor work? The people that are complaining about it. And I'm not saying there's not some people working. I mean, we know there's people that are American white men, whatever you want to say, that are on construction jobs and that are trash men and they're cooks and they're janitors. I'm not saying they don't exist, but the idea of saying that someone doesn't deserve to be here is just such an archaic mentality, because they're saying they take our jobs, they take this, they do this. But the person that usually is saying that is a person that wouldn't have done that job in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen people that frown. I was a janitor for a while.
Yeah.
And I had people frown at me when they would be like, what do you do for a living? I was like, oh, I'm a janitor at a church. They're like, oh. You're like, look, I was trying to raise a family and I was a young person, didn't have a lot of money. You do what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people tell me now, because I don't have a job. I teach martial arts and I'm a cartoonist and I run a website, and they're like, is that all you do? And I'm like, that's 3 freaking jobs. Is that not enough? Yet if they don't know what I do and they see me pull up in my car because I have a sportsy type muscle car, oh, you must have money. Because it's perception.
Yeah, no, your wife has, man.
Well, and I make sure every single person that I talk to, I tell people, no, my wife makes the money. My wife is also Hispanic. Because I go out of my way to put the flowers on her to other people, because I want them to understand, one, I'm not ashamed of being a kept man.
I'm one of the 4% of Latinos that has made it to the C-suite.
I'm not ashamed to be a kept man. I'm not ashamed to clean the house.
You work hard, though.
I'm not ashamed to clean the house.
All I do is this all day.
I'm not ashamed. I do most of the house cleaning and everything else. I'm not ashamed to do it because I'm a man. I do it because I have a wife who is required to make sure I'm kept in a certain lifestyle. And no, it's because I have a wife who works her ass off. And so I'm trying to make her life easier, because I know how hard she works. And that give and take of...
That's called relationships.
Yeah, the mentality of thinking, because here's a funny story. When we were fixing to get married, one of the first things she asked me, because she's always made more than me. She's smarter than me. She has better education than me.
I'm not smarter than you necessarily.
She's book smart and job smarter than I am. I punch things. I'm smarter than I probably let on. But she specifically asked me one day, are you going to be okay with me making more money than you? Because that's a legitimate concern.
It's a legitimate issue in some marriages.
Because some men cannot handle not being the breadwinners. And my first thing I said was, woman, I will be a stay-home dad driving a minivan, wearing a moo-moo or whatever if I don't have to work. I don't care. I'm embarrassed if I get to...
I never made you drive a minivan.
Thank God. I'm not driving a freaking minivan. No, but I had to drive a PT Cruiser for a while.
That PT Cruiser was the best car we ever had.
So anyway, back to the movie we're supposed to be talking about.
But you know what? This would be a great play.
It would.
Because it's just 3 people.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
It's her, this guy, and the husband. Now, the intro is the same as, I don't know if it was a book first, the lady that wrote it, but she said that the intro to the movie is all you need to know about the movie. It's these people, there's her, the guy, and her husband are at a bar. And then you hear the voiceover as the movie starts, a guy and a girl like, I wonder what their deal is.
Yeah, it's like somebody else talking about them.
Is she with the other guy or is she with the white guy? no.
And it's the audience essentially seeing
it's
that
like
moment.
she can't be with the white guy. She has to be with the Asian guy. She's Asian. He's like, and the guy's like, no. What if she's married to the white guy and the other guy's like her friend? And she's like, no. Look at the way he's looking at her. That's not just her friend. So I mean, it's that whole.
That's the entire movie before it ever starts.
And that's still where you're left at the end. I'm just like.
Let me tell you before we move on
ending.
to the next movie,
my gosh!
There's a final scene, and I didn't know if it hit you the same way.
People were crying in the theater.
The final scene is such a simple moment.
It caught me
off guard. It's a blink and you miss it moment.
It caught me off guard
because there's a moment. This part's not the spoiler, but the moment where they finally look into each other's eyes, and it's about a 30-second stare.
It's a little uncomfortable.
It is like you keep waiting. Are they going to kiss? Are they going to hug? Are they going to say bye? Are they going to break down? Are they going to start laughing? You don't know what's going to happen. And then once it's over, there's a character in the movie that hasn't had a lot of emotion throughout the film that finally breaks down.
Yes.
And it's that, what is the other movie we were talking about? It's an action film or something where
at the end, the adrenaline.
The action, they just break down in tears because they survived. And it's like, it's that moment you realize that person realized all that they lost from the change in their life. What could have been and what they probably wanted, but they're not there anymore.
And I wonder if do regular, everyday people, do you have that moment of like, I wonder if I had married this person or if I had stayed with this person.
I mean, I think I can tell you honestly, I think about stuff like that. Not necessarily about my ex-wife and all that because I had that life, but sometimes I think about I'll see somebody pop up that maybe I dated on Facebook or somebody that I hadn't talked to in years or something. I'm like, man, we had such fun together. I wonder what happened if we had just kept hanging out. Whether it's a friendship or it's a relationship or, we all have those moments where you're doing something and like you were saying with the art school or something in my martial arts world, what if I had actually kept kickboxing? Would I become like this big kickbox fighter? Would I have been in better shape earlier on and been the rip guy? Or would you really have
brain damage?
Yeah, or would I be injured and everything would have gone downhill?
You already can't hear me.
Huh?
Exactly.
Who knows? It's a great movie. It's a very slow movie. It's
heavy. It's a talkie.
It is a talkie. It's one that I don't think will get the attention it deserves.
I think it did good at one of the festivals.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll get the theatrical.
It's not because it's going to be too.
Well, and people. We have somebody.
Whatever that, I don't even know.
I'm not going to mention names, but we have somebody that goes to our website, and I know them personally. I'm not necessarily friends with them. They're just somebody I know. But they go to our website, and then they seem to post, like in this one, when I post the review, they posted a laughing emoji on it. And normally you could think somebody probably clicked the wrong thing, because it happens. Because I posted about somebody dying, and a friend of mine posted a laughing emoji, and I don't think that's what he meant to post. Yeah. But I don't want to bring it up. I'll just let him look like a jerk until somebody says something. Yeah. But this person does that on any time there's something a person of color. They did it with Emancipation. They did it with this one. Anytime it's not an American person, they also will type a trolling thing of, oh, no, I don't like that they did this because this is, well, I shouldn't have to do this. But, like they purposely are trying to, I think they did it with a White Man Can't Jump. They commented on it saying, I've always hated this title because it's implying that white men can't do something, and I'm being prejudiced against me. And
I am being prejudiced against all white men. Y'all can't do anything.
Yeah, and then it was like this whole thing about it, and I'm just like, I bet you can't guess what kind of person is posting it.
Is it a white man?
It's always that. If you look at anybody that's angry and posting stuff, 98.999% of the time, it's a white person complaining about the thing that the white people did. But they don't want. That's why
y'all did it.
I know. It's like, I know what our people did. Am I happy about it? No. But that's why we're supposed to learn from that kind of thing and behave instead of trying to hide it. So anyway, I'm sorry. I'll get into that again. So anyway, I thought this was a great movie.
Yeah, and I think it's going to hit different people differently. For me, it was just like kind of like stunning. Like I was stunned and shocked at the end. I was just like, that's it? Or what's going to happen? Or whatever. And then the movie review, like from the company that was there, she was sobbing, and there were other people crying. I could hear. I mean, it's going to hit you differently. And even now, it's like, ugh.
I will tell you, so in case you're one of those people who are going to throw a temper tantrum about it, I've never been more excited for a movie to be in subtitles. So most of the movie, a big chunk of the movie is in Korean. So it's subtitled. And since I'm hard of hearing, I relish when subtitles show up.
Yes, I loved it. I hope, and I was hoping, I'm like, I hope there are people here. They're like, I don't read subtitles.
Yes,
I'm like,
we know
yes, you do now. Anyways,
And
okay.
you know what? I'll be the first to tell you, like, I never minded subtitles when it's a foreign film.
Correct.
But I was always annoyed having to read subtitles on a language I understand.
But
now, as a person that can't hear, I have to watch everything in subtitles.
I just watch everything in subtitles now
because of mumbling.
I always have because of mumbling.
But I
always have.
I think it's a karma thing because I used to complain and mock her about watching subtitles. And I was like, I understand what they're saying. I don't need these stupid subtitles. And now I don't have a choice. I have to have subtitles or I can't have
I think too, remember early on when we were going to Blockbuster all the time? And remember Blockbuster? Do y'all remember But I went through that whole Asian section, and so I got used to it early on. Yeah. So I just left it on everything now.
I still don't watch commentaries.
And people, no, I don't know why, but people don't speak clearly anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like them on everything. Anywho. Let's talk about this last one.
Sorry, we're going long today, but we
had a lot of movies. We had a lot of movies.
I know some of you have probably bailed about halfway.
That's fine. Well, I can post segments of just the different things. I'll do that.
We're going on a whole lot of tangents today. That have nothing to do with our movies.
But you know what? It's important.
That's why people love us.
This is why we need to turn it into a podcast.
We're trained. That's what this is essentially.
I know. I'm going to cut them up and post them as podcasts.
Okay, whatever. No, you're not.
Hi, welcome.
She's been talking about it. She'll never do it.
Let's make a podcast.
All right. So our last movie is the #1 movie of the weekend, the latest in the Spider-Man universe, and sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So I will say, as big of a comic book fan as I was when the original one came out, until seeing it, I was like, this movie is going to be trash. Wow. But it's mostly because I didn't like the animation. I just looked at him like it looks too chaotic. It doesn't look like Spider-Man. I just had this weird feeling from that trailer that it just was going to be off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It felt like they were trying to be too artsy. Mm. And then I saw the movie and I'm like, holy crap, this is one of the greatest animated films I'd ever seen. And I love the movie. I watched it numerous times. So as good as that movie is, it then makes you concerned when they make a sequel. You want the sequel? But can it live up to the first one? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. What is your feelings on the first movie?
I really enjoyed the first movie. I was not aware.
You don't know any of this stuff outside of Peter Parker.
All I know is Peter Parker, and I used to read Ultimate Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. That's the series I read. I do read comics, friends. And so I was actually unaware.
And I never read Ultimate Spider-Man, so you have that vibe, and I know the world of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't read it like you have. I should. We have them all. But
and then I was unaware that there was a Miles Morales. And so I'm like, what? Somebody named Morales is Spider-Man? How is this possible?
Well, and it's funny is I've never understood why. Like, I've never read any Miles Morales Spider-Man stuff. I knew about him. I knew his existence. I was fine. I didn't care that he existed. It wasn't an issue with me. I just was not I stopped reading Spider-Man years ago when it was no longer McFarlane and Eric Larson and some of the Bagley stuff. And I just, because I got out of comics and I kind of veered back into them, but I wasn't doing a lot of Marvel at the time. And I wasn't around when Miles Morales started doing that. And then I got tired of every Spider-Man book connected to every other Spider-Man book. About 35 titles. Very much like Superman, X-Men, everything else.
Too much.
But I wasn't really that ingrained in that world, so I didn't know a lot about it. So I had to go back and research and figure him out. So I was excited because I know Donald Glover, who played, finally had a live-action appearance in Spider-Man Homecoming. But he played, technically you wouldn't know it unless you actually knew who the character was. But he's the Prowler, which is the uncle to Miles that you see him from the first movie. He's playing that same character, but he's not actually the Prowler in that movie.
Right.
And he makes mention of my nephew or whatever, and so it's like kind of saying this guy exists.
Right.
But he had been really pining to play Miles Morales when he was younger to get a live-action Spider-Man, and of course it never happened at the time, although now they're talking about making a live-action Miles Morales Spider-Man movie.
That'd be cool.
But knowing all that exists when they finally made it, I was excited that it wasn't Peter Parker again. I was like, I love Peter Parker, don't get me wrong. I'm not a big fan of these new versions of heroes a lot of times, but I was like, this guy's kind of cemented into the Marvel Universe. I'm interested. I knew he was from a different Earth at the time. They've now since made it where he merged, or somehow he's in the same universe, so he exists with everybody else in the comics anyway.
Yeah.
I believe. Correct me if I don't read it, so I still don't know. But I ended up really loving seeing the expansion. I thought they did a lot of fun stuff with. So when they're leading into this new movie, I was like, what else could you do?
Yeah.
Right. And then seeing that they
Guys.
brought into Spider-Man 2099, which is kind of one of my segues of surprised that everybody made such a big deal about Miles Morales, but nobody ever really made that big a deal about Miguel, whatever his name is.
Yeah, and I was like, wait. And then I turned to you in the thing, I'm like, there's a Spider-Man named Miguel, too?
Yeah, that's Spider-Man
I was
2099.
like, what? I'm like,
Maybe
oh
it's
my
because-
gosh, bringing me in.
Well, maybe it's because when they did the 2099 line, it was clearly a different time period. So none of the heroes were the same people.
Correct.
So nobody made a big deal. Oh, it's not really Spider-Man. It's a different
Miguel
character.
O'Hara.
It's a different character.
But
So I
I'm
get
just
it,
like,
but I was just like,
what?
but then I was worried because the trailers looked like Spider-Man 2099 was the villain, and I didn't know how they were going to handle it. I was
Yeah.
excited to see him, but I'm not excited to see him. But
I'm just telling you, the gamut of spider people is astounding to me. And then you're telling me, yeah, that's a book. Or yeah, that's
some
a
of
book.
them exist. Some of them I've never seen before.
No, I mean, some of them we've just made them up. But I'm just telling you, for me, as a person of color here, a brown person, this to me is just so impactful. Because we have all of the, like, we have Spider Women, we have Spider Men that have Hispanic names, and then there was one. There's so many Spider people.
You see in the trailer, there's like they go that place.
A
there's
multitude of Spider people,
everywhere.
but there's one that was so cute. It's a lady that had like her headscarf on, hijab. But she's in a full Spider-Man costume, so you couldn't see her hair anyway. But she still had her.
She was
hair
like,
wrapped.
"Why is she wearing the mask?" I'm like, "Cause she's Spider-Woman."
But I'm just like, that is so cute. I thought
Yeah,
it was
so
so cool.
I can honestly tell you that this movie not only surpasses the first movie in my opinion, it is another one that's going to probably be on one of my top 10. This is such an
They are
awesome
saying
movie.
this is the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Tom Holland, they recently his favorite Spider-Man movie. I think he chose not this one because at the time they did this movie wasn't out yet.
Into the multiverse.
No, that would be Into the Spiderverse.
Into the
But
Spiderverse,
yes,
whatever.
That one as he thought it'd be, and he goes, and I'm sure the second one's gonna be just as great.
They're saying it is the best Spider-Man movie ever, and they're saying visually stunning. It is. It is an animated feature, but it is amazing.
There's
Just
so
to
many
see,
different things there.
To see New York, but to see New York upside down as a spider hanging upside down.
But it's amazing.
And then the different worlds.
Yeah, as an artist, I throw that around a lot.
And everybody's art style
yeah,
from
so
their
many
comics.
different art. It's
every comic
it
art
hurts your
style
brain at
represented.
times because it's like watching 35 artists drew the same panel. And what's funny is I was just listening one of the rare podcasts I listen to from time to time, which is Rob Liefeld, the one that everybody hates, but everybody buys all his crap. He does this thing called Robservations.
Yes.
And he just talks about the industry.
Yeah.
And one of the things they did is they did this book called Image United. And this was years after most of the founders had broken up. Jim Lee was no longer with Image. Rob Liefeld was no longer with Image. Some of the founders were there, some weren't. They got talked into doing some kind of, I think it was like 15th anniversary of Image or 20th anniversary from them. They were doing a signing. They got talking. They decided to put out a book, a mini-series, that every artist drew their own characters on each page.
Nice.
So if you laid out a page and it had Youngblood and Spawn and Savage Dragon, whoever owned that character did those pencils.
Nice.
And then some of them inked themselves. Some other people had other people. So it was like this. They were going to do 12 issues. I didn't get to finish the thing, but for whatever reason, it never finished the series. It only did like 6 or 7 issues out of the 12, I think, or whatever it was. But that's what this movie felt like. It felt like, hey, you worked on Spider-Punk, and you worked on Miles Morales, and you worked on Spider-Man, and you worked on Spider-Woman, and that's all. You're Gwen, Spider-Gwen, and let's all. And let me tell you, I used to hate Spider-Gwen when they started making Gwen stuff, because there's Gwenpool, there's all these different Gwen things from different universes. I got annoyed with all that era. I actually like Spider-Gwen in these movies.
Yeah, she's good in these. And I like, so every character has their own style as well.
Yeah.
And even within their own style, you see visually the changes and the moods and the emotion. I think Gwen is probably the most impactful because at times her world is so dark and she and her surroundings are dark. And then
you see when they were talking, it keep changing
slowly
color
she
palette?
has this interesting conversation with her dad, and it lightens and and it's very watercolory until suddenly it's like bright lights and her hair's blonde again.
Yeah, did you see? Yeah, her hair. I was going to ask you if you noticed that her color, the tones of her hair kept changing.
Yes, depending on the moods and what was happening in the scene. And I just thought it was interesting because you get a visual representation of the emotion that perhaps you don't see from a physical actor.
Well,
but
like there's a early on before you start realizing there's new issues with the timelines, or not the timeline, multiverse. There's a version of the Vulture that shows up, and it's just this weird
paper
looking thing. And then I was like, he looks stupid. He looks like paper. And then somebody's like, "Are you made of cardboard?" I'm like,
yeah, because in that universe,
and you see it and you realize it just from that weird art.
But that was amazing art.
Yeah, you saw it immediately, and it was like, and there's some like this character that's a villain that I honestly thought the Spot that you see in the trailer is kind of stupid. I thought he was going to be like a one-off kind of fun villain that Spider-Man fights for a minute and then we move on, and he's like a major catalyst in this thing. But if you look at him in this one scene, you can see the pencil breakdowns.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed it or not, where you can see the circles and the lines that make the shoulders and the joints.
Yes.
And it's when he's in that little universe and he has no spots on him. I'm like,
and I find it interesting too, even like with Miles and Gwen, whoever's doing the main arc, like they choose to leave the pencil line of their face and the nose that crosses and stuff. And I was like, that's an interesting choice to leave the pencil.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. And then if you notice in Miles' universe, his is like dark, and it's his world feels dark, but also at times it feels like blurry over here because he's looking at this person. So it's like how
it's
real life
like camera works.
Yeah, like real life camera work. Exactly. See? I don't know anything about art, but I got it.
There's also I wondered how you were going to connect with, because believe it or not, as a white person, I don't always connect as the same way as a person of color would connect when that is on the screen.
Yeah.
I can enjoy it like, oh my God, that character came to life. Like it's a spoiler, but it's not a spoiler.
Should I put up the spoiler alert?
No, it's not really a spoiler. It's just, you already talked about, but there's Spider-Man India, there's all these different things. And there's a comic that actually they've been putting out different, that's been a loophole as of late, where they can create new characters and put them in different countries. Because why wouldn't there be? Why wouldn't there be somebody sitting in Russia seeing Peter Parker swinging around, like, so maybe they create their own powers and be like, I'm going to be the Spider-Man of Russia.
But if we're saying it's the multiverse, every multiverse has a Spider-Man.
Right.
Who knows?
To say where they've been at.
Yeah. I mean, we had
I was wondering how you were going to connect with
Spider-Pig,
seeing certain things show up and be like, because I know you got all excited about a couple of characters that were major players in the movie that again, I didn't think were going to be major players in the movie that showed up. And you don't get a lot of the ones from the first movie. They have little small snippets, but they're not, it's not the same group of people. It's a whole new group of people.
Yes.
And it just worked, man. The whole movie is just outstanding.
No, but that's what I'm telling you, it was impactful. You give me somebody with a Latino name and I'm like, they can be a Spider-Man. Like, to me, it's astonishing because I didn't know that was a thing. All I ever knew was Peter Parker and Gwen with blonde-haired whatever.
She was red-haired.
Whatever. And
Gwen was blonde-haired.
Gwen MJ was red-haired. MJ and like, okay, a bunch of white people. But that's okay for the time period we're in. But now we've gotten beyond that. And just even other things that are happening in the other universe, that we have an Indian chick here and a guy over there or whatever. I'm just like, this is cool.
I really loved
it.
The attention to detail to connect this movie to every existing Spider-Man related film, as well as the Marvel universe. Did you catch that line?
Yes.
There's one throwaway line. It's not a spoiler, but he's like, so the catalyst to this movie is ramifications from the last movie, right?
Yes.
Just like the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is the catalyst to a lot of stuff that's happening in the rest of the Marvel universe. And so in this, there's a throwaway line. He's like, you're doing this and because y'all did this last time, this is causing this. Don't even get me started about the Doctor Strange and that teenager from Earth such and such. And it's referring to Spider-Man No Way Home or whichever one it is.
Yeah.
Is it No Way Home? Homecoming. No Way Home. No Way Home, because it's Far From Home than No Way Home. Far From Home is a vacation. No Way Home is the multiverse. That's how you remember it. Okay. Homecoming, he's going to Homecoming.
No Way Home.
Far From Home, they're out of town.
Yes.
No Way Home is people can't go back. So they use one line to say it's
all connected.
And then there's some fun visuals and some surprise stuff that connects it to other things, other Spider-Man stuff. the amount of thought that went into how many variations of Spider-Man can we include in this was astounding.
Yeah, they did a great job. It's amazing. I think it is the best
any
movie.
iteration of Spider-Man you have ever seen
or thought of that could happen,
or whatever.
Like I don't know if
has the potential. I'm not going to tell you who shows up,
no.
but it has the potential to exist here because of the way it's laid out.
Yeah. Like, does this exist?
What?
Yes, he does.
What
this one.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know this was a real thing. Like, why would I know that's a real thing?
Yeah, because
it is Earth 31913.
Yeah. I think everything in there existed somewhere, with the exception of maybe some background ones that they just kind of filled it with.
Yeah.
But it was astounding, and
it looks like it was a cartoon, and I missed it. Where have I been?
Yeah, that was probably in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Oh my gosh. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, the movie is
it's amazing.
This might be one of my favorite.
Did it help that you watched it 2 times?
Yeah, I've seen it twice now.
Did it help with all? Because there's a lot.
Because I was able to enjoy more the second time, getting to see more stuff. But I'll tell you this: I found myself getting right engrossed back into the same thing, and not be able to look around as much because I was back into the story. The movie is like almost 2.5 hours, like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
it's chaotic. It's a lot. You come out of that movie exhausted.
Yes,
but in the best way possible.
It was good, man.
And
it was so good. And
I will warn you. I know normally people don't want to know the ending. I'm not going to tell you what happens.
No.
But most people, and I told you, and I don't know if it helped you or not.
Yeah.
The original trailer tells you that it's part 1. So we know there's a sequel
There's a part 2 coming.
And it does end kind of on a cliffhanger-like. So I think it's important for people to know that so they don't get angry at the end of the movie. Did it help you knowing that it was
Yes, it did, because I felt like this feels like it's wrapping up, but we're not done.
Yeah,
but then I was
frustrated.
Okay. No, I was okay with it.
Because I was concerned at first. I knew it was going to be a to be continued kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I feel like they're fixing wrapping up. Please don't do some weird, like, last minute they fix it and it's over. Because movies do that and it ruins the whole experience before that.
Yeah. Don't rush it.
Yeah, so they are obviously making new in this. It's supposed to come out next year. That's Beyond the Spider-Verse. That's not really a spoiler. It was announced because they were going to do a second one. So the only tag, there is no after credit scene other than midway through. It kind of gives you the announcement of the next movie. And
we'll return.
And that's it. There's no after credit scenes or anything like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love this movie.
This movie is
one I'll probably watch a lot. Not only probably on my top 10, it's probably the top superhero film that I think it's ever been made for me. It's right up there.
I really loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And I think
now I'm more
it deals
concerned
a lot
for the third
too
one.
With him and his family still.
Yeah.
It deals with him and Gwen. I think it deals with him and the other spider people. And I think even on some level, it's just him still trying, like always, Peter Parker, trying to figure out what is his life going to be.
And I like the fact that every character in this movie had not only evolved, like in age, height, personality, their lives. It's only a year later.
Yeah.
I believe. Is that what it was?
So, yeah.
And like he's been Spider-Man now for a year. But also the major players that came back and even some of the new people got kind of their own story. It wasn't just Miles' story. We're getting more, and then you're also finding out stuff from the last movie was bigger than what we originally thought, and things affected things, and people that you thought were friends might not have been friends, or they were friends, but they were doing things that were betraying, and other things that may have been helping you that weren't. And it's very cleverly written and organized.
Yeah.
That it's chaotic, but makes total sense.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So good.
And it was a massive hit this weekend.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was number 1.
It was not only was it number 1, I think it was projected to make like 80 million, which is a big deal for an animated movie anyway. But I think it ended up making like the early counts, which aren't the final, was like 120 million. So, and big shout out to Oscar Isaac, who seems to be just taking on every geek culture thing, because he was Miguel, Spider-Man 2099. He's also Moon Knight. He was also Apocalypse and X-Men. He was Poe Dameron in Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And the guy keeps showing up in everything, man.
And he's also from Guatemala, baby. The motherland.
And he's in Dune. He's like all these major things.
There you go.
Anyway.
That's all that matters. He's from Guatemala. The motherland.
That is your homeland.
Homeland.
So anyway, check out Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in the theaters now. See it on the biggest, loudest, and most obnoxious screen possible.
Yeah, you really
and
should.
Get ready for a sensory overload.
Go to the bathroom before it starts.
Yes.
And don't drink anything.
That is one thing. That is one thing I
love. That
love.
was like that one Marvel movie that was like, this is going to be 3 hours.
This is the Endgame.
Yeah, so don't drink
this
anything.
happened twice. I saw Endgame, I think, before you. At a screening, and I saw this at a screening before you. So when we were able to go see it the second time, I'm just casually going to the bathroom, whatever I need. And you get people look at you like, how can you get up there? And I'm like, seen it. You know, I can pee freely.
Wow, it's funny.
I still don't like it, though. Anyway, moving on.
All right, over to you.
Oh, it's over already to that point of our show?
Yes, sir.
All right, so coming out this week, not a lot of brand new stuff. It looks like the Super Mario Brothers movie is coming out on Blu-ray and 4K.
Oh, wow.
I know it's already available on digital. You haven't seen it yet, so we're going to watch it and let you get an update. Tulsa King, the first season, is coming out on Blu-ray. If you haven't checked it out, if you don't have Paramount Plus, it's your chance to watch it. A movie called Mafia Mama with Toni Collette and Monica Bellucci, which I've heard is actually good, but I haven't seen it.
We'll try it. We like Toni Collette.
The Mummy trilogy is getting the 4K release, which I might actually break down and buy that because I have the DVDs, but I'd like to get the new versions of them. They released a while back the Indiana Jones collection on 4K, but now they're releasing all 4 movies separately on 4K. So for those of you people that hate on Crystal Skull or don't want those other ones, you can buy just the one you like now. You don't have to have the full collection, but why would you have one and not have the other ones? You're just a weirdo. And that's pretty much it. I think Clear and Present Danger with Harrison Ford's getting 4K. That kind of thing. It's not a really big new film week. It doesn't look like. Yep, I think it's pretty much. What is this? I'm sorry.
Okay, so since we didn't have a show last week, hopefully you saw Spider-Man. Also, what came out last week was The Boogeyman. That was the big thing. Let me go.
They're also putting out a Blu-ray release of Private Parts. The Howard Stern movie, which I love that movie. I may have to get this, even though they're putting it out. I need to hit them up. That's through Shout Factory.
Shout,
man. Why am I not getting this?
Video Demand Digital last week was a new movie called Simulant. I'm only mentioning it because it has Jordana Brewster. So if you want to see her in something other than fast cars, here's an option for you. Coming to Prime Video, it came out this past week also, Shiny Happy People.
Shiny Happy People holding hands.
If you're interested, it's about the Duggar family, and it's called the Duggar Family Secrets docuseries. It's on Prime Video right now. All right. Also on Video Demand and Digital last week was a movie called Coco, the Red Dog Story. That looked really cute. Okay, coming out Tuesday this week. I'm interested in this. It's coming out on the line, Video Demand Digital. The Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares Robert Englund story.
We have it.
Do we? We'll be talking about that.
This is totally non-related, though, but I just saw this pop up. I know it's already talked about that they had named Ming-Na Wen back in 2019 as an official Disney legend.
Oh,
because she was Mulan, and she's in Star Wars, and she was in Marvel.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, it just popped up.
I don't know why it popped up. Coming to Video Demand and Digital, movie called Origami in the Garden. It is a documentary about this husband and wife team that create these origami statues that you can go look at. It's interesting. Coming to Video Demand and Digital, if you didn't catch it in the theater, you can now catch it on the line. Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret.
Oh, the movie is so good.
And I don't think you're even the
I am not the audience, but the movie is just so good.
Okay, I'll watch it.
And it's one of those I know you had no interest in seeing.
No interest.
I guarantee you will cry and like that movie.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's not only funny, but it's dealing with
just a
young girl becoming a woman, but she's also dealing with faith. Like, is she going to be Christian or is she going to be Jewish? Because her parents are either.
Oh, that's right.
And one of them, the Christian side, aren't even really practicing. So are you going to be a non-practicing? Are you believe in Jesus? Are you Jewish? And all the families fighting over it.
Wow.
There's a lot there.
Coming out on Wednesday, if you didn't see this in the theater also, now you can see it on Disney Plus, Avatar, The Way of Water.
Not too bad.
Coming out on Thursday to Amazon, the Amazon Prime Video movie is My Fault. It's about this guy, Nick and Nora, and their unforbidden love or whatever. Who knows?
Did you say Luke and Laura?
Nick and Nora's forbidden
what's that called?
love.
Which one's looking for Laura? All My Children?
Maybe so.
I've almost said All in the Family.
All My Children. Nick and Nora's Forbidden Love. Okay. Coming out Friday is this little movie called Transformer Rise of the Beasts. We would recommend that you watch at least some of the other Transformer movies so you know who some of these people are. Like you might need to know.
If you are somebody that doesn't want to watch them, oh goodness.
Bless you.
This is a sequel It's a prequel, but it's a sequel to Bumblebee because Bumblebee took place in the
At least
80s,
watch
if I'm
that
not
one.
mistaken. This one takes place in the 90s, so if you want to avoid the other ones, you probably can, but I wouldn't because that's ridiculous behavior.
Okay. Coming to video demand and digital is a movie called 97 Minutes. It's about a plane hijacking that crashes, or they say it's going to crash in 97 minutes. And who
sounds like just a movie Speed.
It's Alec Baldwin.
Oh, he's still alive?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Also coming out to Apple TV Plus, it's the Crowded Room series. It's Tom Holland, Amanda Seyfried. If you're interested in that, coming to video demand and digital, Heroes of the Golden Mask.
They were promoting the crap out of
It's
that.
Ron Perlman and some other people.
Yeah,
right?
I think this one might be one of Christmas.
Sean Patrick O'Reilly.
I'm looking forward to that.
Coming to Disney Plus and Hulu, it says Flamin' Hot. It is the drama / true story of a lovely Latino man here in Texas that came up for the recipe for Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
And it's directed by Eva Longoria.
Yes.
Who I was watching an interview with her, and she was talking about being a female and Hispanic filmmaker. She's like, I'm just hoping this movie connect because they don't give us a second chance.
Nah.
You know, and even though she's already established in the industry, everybody knows who Eva Longoria is.
Yeah.
You know, but she's like, if it doesn't work out for me, then
but you know, I've been seeing some things on Facebook, like there's the Chicano whatever thing that I follow. But they're like promoting the heck out of this. They're like, go see this
trailer. I just finally watched trailer though. It looks outstanding.
Okay. Also coming to video demand and digital, movie called Aloners. It's a person that literally goes home and isolates herself completely and just kind of that life. Also in video demand and digital, movie called Unidentified Objects. It's a drama comedy about, this will be interesting. Peter says is a dwarf hiding from the world in his New York apartment. But somebody becomes abducted and craziness ensues. Netflix movie of the week, The Wonder Weeks. Wonder Weeks. Don't know what that's about. Check it out though. Let's see. There's so much happening. I want to just get through it. The Shudder movie of the week, Brooklyn 45. It's 1945. Best friends since childhood come together to face the ghosts of their past. And it says they're trapped in the host's lounge. They have to pass a final test to get their freedom. That's interesting. That's all.
I'm really excited. It's not this coming week, but for just to give everybody a heads up for June 16th, outside of The Flash coming out that week, Extraction 2 is coming out.
Oh.
You know what that is? That's that Chris Hemsworth movie on Netflix.
Oh.
Where he's a special forces guy.
Yes. Yes. I remember that, where he gets blown up on that bridge.
Yeah. There's a funny video. The reason I brought it up is we talked last week about FUBAR a little bit and how they're just blasting that show through Netflix because it's doing so well.
Yeah.
There's a new video that just popped up because supposedly they've named Schwarzenegger's new action director or entertainment or whatever, and it's him and Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, that's funny.
And he's talking to him, trying to give him some pointers about Extraction 2, and he's giving him all these things and like giving him one-liners, and he's saying stuff like,
I have to go watch that.
Goes, what you need to do is you go grab somebody, you blow something up, and he goes, "You've been extracted." And he's like, okay. And then at the end of it, Hemsworth is walking away. He's like, "I'll be back." He goes, "Why did I say that?" It's really funny little video, so go check it out.
All right.
So we have some new stuff finally to give away, and we got some other stuff they're going to pop up added on there as well. First up, we have digital copies of one of my favorite movies this year, Renfield. If you have not seen Renfield with Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult, you are missing out because that movie is outstanding.
Great.
So we'll be giving those. Won't be giving those out till next week because it doesn't go live until next Tuesday. So I don't give anybody codes and then they don't think they work. So get on there, go to our website, go on there. I think that question is like, who's your favorite actor to play Dracula? Then we still got a couple of copies of Creed 3.
Nice.
So you can check that out.
Love it.
Then we also have a new horror film we'll be talking about next week called The Tank.
Oh, I'm already scared.
USA.
I'm scared.
And a new Donnie Yen movie that he also directed called Sakura.
Nice.
We have copies of that to give away if you like some Donnie Yen action.
Do.
We have copies of the movie A Good Person with Florence
Pew, pew, pew.
and Morgan Freeman, which was an excellent film.
Yeah.
And Fist of the Condor, which is the new action flick with Marco Zarrar, who I also just recently re-interviewed him talking about this movie. And it's a Spanish-speaking film, so it brings more of that culture that this one seems to like.
Qué bueno.
I haven't figured out why she's so in love with Spanish culture, but one day I'll figure it out. And I guess that's it.
Oh, that's funny.
We do have some other ones going to pop up soon, so stay tuned.
Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Click on the contest button to see how to enter and win free stuff. Thank you so much for watching us. Make sure you go find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and Hive.
And go online. This coming weekend is Fan Expo in Dallas.
Ooh.
So there's all kind of people going to be there. I think Kevin Smith and them are going to still be there. I know they're having a Griswold reunion with Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo and stuff. I think some of the Cobra Kai people are going to be there. I know that Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen are going to be there. A little girl that played Leia and Obi-Wan is going to be there, who is also in the Boogeyman movie.
Oh, okay.
So she's got some new stuff. And so there's a ton of people,
I'll post a link to the show.
So yeah, go ahead over there. And if you want to go have some fun with that show, get over there.
All right. Well, we'll see you later.
Peace out,
Peace
dogs.
out.